Hello and welcome to episode 232 of the IABC International Podcast. My name's Dan Gold, and on this episode we're speaking with MacKenzie Fitzgerald about keeping them coming back, building employee loyalty through accelerated engagement.
Building that loyalty and that employee engagement and that pride comes from our sense of community and our culture that we have, as well as thinking about the warfighter, thinking about our end user and how, in my division, Raytheon Missiles and Defense, we have 31,000 employees across the globe.
Also, it's an interesting conversation from the wider point of view of integrating two organisations following either a merger or a takeover. But first, former guest of the IABC International Podcast, Howard Craze, has written an article with Mike Poundsfoot and Kevin Ruck for IABC.com on transforming how organisations listen to their people. It's clear that listening to employees is critical to improving performance, decision-making and well-being, and most communicators would agree with this. But when it comes to looking at what organisations really value from their communication function, listening appears a long way down the list. This article features great research and tools for you to take to your leadership to highlight the importance of professional communicators being a key part of the listening process. From passive to deep listening, this article has a lot to say, and it's linked in the notes of this episode. Now on to our feature interview. MacKenzie, welcome to the IABC International Podcast.
Thank you. I am so thrilled to be here.
Well, I'm thrilled as well because it's great to be in the presence of an IABC Gold Quill Award winner.
Why, thank you. It's very exciting.
So your award, it was won for the campaign Keep Them Coming Back, building employee loyalty through accelerated engagement. I like going beyond the written word and actually looking at the engagement side of how communication can be used and affected. Firstly, tell me about the organisation for whom you work.
Sure thing. So I work for Raytheon, and actually, before that, when we submitted the award, it was for the Raytheon business of integrated defense systems. And we have now, as of April, merged with United Technologies. So it was the biggest merger in the aerospace and defense industry. So now my new division of Raytheon is called Raytheon Missiles and Defense. And our main purpose is that we provide the industry's most advanced end-to-end solutions. So we deliver products and capabilities to our customers, which are typically in the defense industry, that work to detect, track, and intercept and neutralize threats. So we're really on a mission to create a safer future for everyone in the world. And tackle those complex challenges that come from the defense industry. And we do so with a broad portfolio of capabilities and products that range from air and missile defense systems to precision weapons and radars, command and control, and air defense technologies.
And with an organization like that, and congratulations on the merger as well, it's a place where I would imagine that it's important to make sure that members of the team are engaged and that there is free and open communication in terms of relationship building with people in different departments and ensuring that there aren't barriers to communication.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, with any sort of merger or acquisition, that it makes employee engagement, morale, and loyalty that much more important than it is on a daily basis. I mean, you're dealing with a whole host of change management situations, different perceptions, different approaches to how you do things. So in a situation like that, it's of the utmost importance to engage the workforce and make them feel like they're a part of building the new company. What was an interesting challenge for us was the Raytheon and United Technologies merger went through on April 3rd. And so as you can imagine, that was about 2 weeks after COVID hit the US. And we had, all these, great plans in place for how we were going to introduce the new business and welcome our employees to this new culture and help them help us build the new culture of our new business. And all of that had to be completely redesigned because of COVID. So we had the simultaneous challenge of one of the largest mergers in aerospace and defense, as well as a global pandemic to deal with. So in that respect, employee engagement just became even more important in that scenario.
My friend owns a bakery, and go with me on this one. When she gets a new member of staff, she shows them the product, explains the services, and gives them a little sample to take home so that they can engage with their families with the pride in the work that they're going to be doing. I would imagine it's not the same in your organization.
No, it is not. However, I do commend her because that's something that you want to build when you build employee engagement. Is you want to build those brand ambassadors. You want them to understand how the work they do connects to the success of the organization, and then bring that pride and share that pride externally. So, I mean, giving the employees samples and having them share it with the family, that's fantastic. That's a great step in terms of building loyalty and engagement and brand ambassadors. But yes, it's very different for larger companies as well as for in the defense industry. So for us, we can't obviously give our products to or share a lot about our products for the general public. But building that loyalty and that employee engagement and that pride comes from our sense of community and our culture that we have, as well as thinking about the warfighter, thinking about our end user, and how, in my division, Raytheon Missiles and Defense, we have 31,000 employees across the globe. So, and they all work on, a wide range of things, whether it's our engineers working on our products or our, finance, communications, HR, working on all of the different resources and tools to help support them. So you want to make sure that everyone has a good understanding of, the overall goals, but also the end user and how the work that you're doing, whether it's HR, finance, communications, engineering, how they impact the warfighter, because that's really where you're going to feel the pride in the work that you do and where you're going to build that engagement and the passion for the work that you do.
And you mentioned just now about the challenges of bringing these organizations together at a time when COVID-19 has really kicked the business world, well, the whole world sideways, but the business world, trying to integrate those teams when you cannot do the face-to-face meetings and do those icebreakers and kickoffs that you would hope to do. Just for a high level look at this, what did you have to change, or how did you deliver some tactics of still bringing people together at a distance?
Yeah, we're very fortunate that we live at a time where we have such robust technology to help us bring people together in a virtual environment. So initially with their Raytheon UTC merger, we had all these, big splash celebrations planned for in-person employee activities with leadership interaction and great swag to give out and just a fun environment that we were building at all of our locations. And obviously, with COVID, we can't gather in person in large groups. So what we did was we shifted our efforts to look at the digital space. And as I mentioned, we have the technology to do so, which is fantastic. So we ended up taking that feel-good atmosphere that we were implementing or hoping to implement on day one to help build that pride in the new company and build that culture and loyalty and engagement. And we pivoted to a virtual environment. So we did a digital push on day one where we had, all these messaging and videos go out to help people understand the new business, feel a part of the new business, and see the new leaders. We also launched a variety of different websites and internal websites to keep people up to speed and feeling like they're connected to the business while they're still working from home. And then since COVID and in the 4 or 5 months now, we have implemented a variety of activities to keep people engaged while they're working from home. So we do have a portion of our workforce that's still going to our manufacturing facilities as their essential workers, but the majority of our workforce is working from home at this time. And what we've done to help build community with this new business is explore options for engaging them virtually. So we've done things like virtual networking, encouraging different managers and directors to host things like virtual trivia nights and virtual team building opportunities. We are in the process of bringing in outside speakers for a speaker series webcast where we'll be focusing on topics that really align with employee engagement. So things like emotional agility and how we can build effective teams during times of change, and the science of happiness and things like that. So really looking to the digital space and how we can engage people in virtual events when we can't meet in person.
When organizations are brought together, very often it's the simple things as communicators that we can do that have the greatest impact. And if you'll indulge me on this one, I dealt with a merger, and one of the largest pinch points that everyone saw was that the two organizations worked on completely different intranets, if you like, and the software that they used and the learning curve of not only the critical systems for the day-to-day, but how they communicated internally was different. So what they did as a part of the process of bringing the organizations together as a communication team was work very closely with IT and establish which was the senior system, therefore giving the greatest capability to both organizations moving forwards, and then working very closely with the IT trainers to bring the people from the organization that were going to have to transition to a new system to ensure that they could engage on that platform in the simplest way with the least friction.
Yeah, and that is huge when we're talking about mergers. And I have to commend our various IT teams. So by way of background, Raytheon, before the merger, we were 5 businesses, and we all had different approaches to IT. I mean, we all had a central IT as well, but bringing all of those different IT businesses together, not only with the consolidation of the Raytheon businesses, but also with UTC being completely different. Obviously, they have different tools and different systems and different platforms. So I have to commend our IT with all of those different areas coming together. They have been phenomenal since the merger, and they are doing exactly what you said and looking at, okay, if Legacy Raytheon has this tool and Legacy UTS had this, what are the pros and cons of each? Which one is the better tool for us to move forward? And I've even found in my role with employee engagement, historically we did most of our employee events in person. We didn't do a ton in the virtual space. But Legacy UTC, because they were more dispersed than our Raytheon businesses, they had some tools that we did not have for Raytheon. So they've been fantastic in offering up their tools and walking us through, how to host events in different spaces with the platforms that they have. So right now, we still all have all of our, amalgamation of tools, and going forward in 2021, I know we're going to be paring down and focusing on what is the best for the new RTX business. But in the meantime, we're all working super collaboratively and helping each other where needed in terms of the different platforms and tools that we all bring to the table.
And that's critical to bringing it all together for the long-term satisfaction of everybody in the performance of the organization. Just a question relating to what you were recognized for in the IABC Gold Quill Award. One of the parts that really intrigues me, if we go to a pre-COVID time, if we can remember back that far, my brain is just in a completely different place. But you took what I understand was an experiential approach to deepening employee loyalty to address the needs for the community. Could you explain what you went through to really put opportunities in front of people and bring them on board?
Sure thing. So, historically speaking, and not just with Raytheon, but in the industry at whole, when you would talk about employee engagement, most communications team would take a communications approach, which is understandable. Employee engagement is a relatively new field, came about late 1990s, early 2000s, and took a little bit to get up and running. So historically speaking, a lot of businesses, when they would want to engage employees, they would take a communications approach and send out emails and write stories for intranets, and that's still super important and necessary. But the approach that I take to employee engagement is engaging people through experiences. So yes, there still needs to be that communication aspect to those experiences. But what's going to have a great impact is bringing your employees together in one space, whether that's in person or virtual, helping people build those connections with their colleagues, helping them understand, where they fit in the overall mission and goals of the organization, and helping them feel like they're being invested in as an employee of a company, not just looked at as an employee, but looked at as a human being, and the organization values the work that they do and wants to invest in them for that. So that's really the approach that I take. My role is relatively new for Raytheon. The employee engagement specialist role was developed in 2018, and I was hired in August of 2018, so about 2 years now. And essentially, the leadership team recognized some trends that they were seeing in the workforce that they wanted to address. Mainly, historically speaking, we saw several years of growth for their integrated defense systems business, and that led to a big surge in hiring. And we're talking, thousands of employees every year we were hiring, and more we were seeing that they were millennials. Just in 2019, we hired 2,000 employees, and 67% were millennials. And the millennials bring not only new ideas, but new challenges and new expectations to the workforce. And as a millennial, I can share those firsthand that, we want more from the workforce than maybe boomers and traditionalists, rather than just, exchange of goods, meaning service for paycheck. Millennials are looking more for social connections and finding meaningful work and feeling like they're being invested in. So in order to feel all that, you don't just need communications. I mean, a lot of times employees are inundated with communications and they need more of that experience. So through my work, I did a lot of research when I first started to identify those key themes I was seeing that employees were saying, hey, if you changed this, or hey, if you did this, I would be more likely to stay here. I'd be more happy in my job, and I'd feel more fulfilled. And taking those themes and finding creative experiential approaches to meet those needs. So we did a lot of stuff. You specifically mentioned bringing people on board. So one of the key themes that we saw was positive first impression. Employees really wanted to have a great impression out of the gate, and that's super important. We were seeing that about half of our new hires would leave the company after year 5, and the majority of them would leave within 2 years. So we took a look and said, what's going on there? Why are our employees leaving after 2 years? And we learned that if the first impression of the business was not a positive one, they were more likely to leave. So one of the things that we did as part of this employee engagement plan was take a close look at our onboarding, and we developed a variety of approaches to improve it. So it was kind of 3 legs of the stool of onboarding. We revamped day 1 of orientation to make it, historically speaking, it was more of nitty-gritty details of what you need, in terms of training and HR requirements and benefits. And we built that out to be more of an experiential, interesting day. So we had employees from our employee resource groups come in to build connections. We had more opportunities for networking with our first day of onboarding. We helped employees, we got them their computer assets on day one, which was unheard of. And we helped them get onboarded through some of their training that they had to do on day one. So that was the first leg of the stool. We also implemented an ambassador program. So every employee was assigned an ambassador for their first year that would meet with them on a regular basis and help them answer questions that every new hire has, that maybe they don't want to go to their manager to ask this question, but they have someone else who's, an unbiased person that they can ask the question to. And then the third leg of the stool was my baby, the new employee accelerator program. And that is a year-long program that we implemented to help acclimate our employees to the business and their roles in an accelerated environment. So we provided additional onboarding. We do learning series, networking opportunities, and provide a wide variety of resources for our employees on topics that are of interest to new hires. So things like understanding the business metrics and understanding the different mission areas that align to our business. Things that really help them get a broader picture of the organization that they just entered from right outside the gate.
That is incredibly comprehensive, but I really I like so many elements of this. And I'm just going to share a really quick story. Of all the organizations that I have worked with, there was one where we had a formal onboarding process and effectively a buddy program to guide the new members of staff in and through the structure of the organization, expectations. And it was almost that they chose people with really good soft skills to bring on the new people and build their confidence. I did that onboarding. Crikey. That was 1996. And I can remember the connections that I made in that room on that day, and the person that I buddied with, I am still a friend with. He was at my wedding. I mean, it's been a so far lifelong friendship. Wow. And part of that comes down to the HR and internal communications team that we had at that organization. They took the effort to pair me with the right person because they had the information from when I'd interviewed for the role. They were able to go, okay, well, we think that he'll fit with this person. And I thought that was fantastic. And all these years later, I still look to this other person, his name's Mark, for clarification on things. We're in very different sectors now. But it's something that's been meaningful for that long, and I can certainly see the benefits of it. MacKenzie, yeah. I'd love to carry on so much longer, but time is working against us. For people who wanted to find out more about your organization, is there anywhere where they can do it, or is it not on the internet?
We are on the internet. You're not going to be able to find the details of a lot of our different products, but you can certainly visit us. So we have a website. If you go to rtx.com, that is our external-facing website, and that's for all of the new Raytheon Technologies businesses. So on there, you'll be able to click through to the Our Company tab and learn a lot about my business, in particular, Raytheon Missiles and Defense. So I welcome you all to visit and learn more.
MacKenzie Fitzgerald, thank you so much for joining me here on the IABC International Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening. Please share the IABC International Podcast with your colleagues and subscribe to ensure that you don't miss an episode. And if you can leave a rating on wherever you listen to this podcast, please do so. Music is from Joachim Karud and Ixon. And this is an IABC production.